Everybody's trying to do the same thing. Leverage AI efficiently and get software into the market and make money off of it. Everybody's trying to do that, whether it's PlayStation, Nintendo, or Xbox. They're all trying to do that. I don't see how Microsoft has an advantage other than, I mean, I guess you could argue this. I could steelman your argument a little bit. You could say, well, they have so much money, they can afford to back more risky endeavors or have more failures, and they could weather that and stay in the fight longer than anybody else because they won't run out of capital or cash on their endeavors. Like if an AI endeavor goes belly up for somebody else, it might be more costly. I mean, you could probably argue that. That doesn't mean you're going to get better results. It just means that they could survive failure longer. But that doesn't support your point. Your premise was that they're in a better position to do these things in a better way and to navigate the changing landscape. I just think they can weather failure. We can't determine that.
Oh, that's funny. It's funny he wants to talk about weathering favor. Like I said, failure. Square Enix has entered the chat. I mean, if anybody can navigate the way that this landscape is going, right? Because the fact of the matter is, right, games are not selling consoles. Brand loyalty is a thing. People have their preferred hardware, and people want to stay on their preferred hardware. Microsoft is trying to meet the consumer. It's that simple. You know, we can argue about why Microsoft's doing it. We can argue about console sales, but the fact of the matter is they're trying to meet the consumer halfway. And I think in the long run, that's what's going to have to be done because we see games that suffer from exclusivity, a la Square Enix, right? So I could somewhat see what he's saying about Microsoft being able to navigate this landscape because let's just be honest, Microsoft is the most familiar with what they're doing. Down to look at the PlayStation, look at the PlayStation's top sellers. I say it in every video. I mean, what more do I have to say?
Microsoft and their pocketbook will equal better innovation and better results. You could argue that they can weather failure longer than anybody else. They have more money to invest. Right, they could place more bets. That, again, doesn't mean you're going to get better results.
And you see, the funny thing about this guy is, and I notice all the PlayStation fan guys do this, all the PlayStation fanboys, they all will sit around and pretend like, you know, they have inside knowledge, like they bump shoulders with people like they're inside these business rooms. But I hate to be a Reddit guy, but I mean, no source, right? I mean, this is all stuff that he's just pulling out of his ass. I mean, he dresses it up well. I hope MBG is taking notes because, I mean, this is what MBG tries to sound like.
It doesn't. PlayStation has demonstrated they are far better at understanding the needs of developers and the landscape of development with a hardware synergy between developer and platform. I think Mark Cerny and PlayStation have demonstrated a far better understanding of how to bring good games.
Is that what happened with Concord? What about Marathon, right? Because I'm looking at Marathon and it's looking like it's going to be Concord the extraction shooter. So I don't know. I'm pushing X to doubt.
The market and how to deliver good tools and good hardware. Xbox has continued to demonstrate that they have a fundamental misunderstanding of the hardware relationship with games. They also have a fundamental misunderstanding of the creative process of bringing games to market. Live service? They've had both success and failures in live service. MLB.
What success has Sony had in live service? I mean, let's just keep it a buck. You guys are batting in the negative percentage. I don't even know what to say, but you guys get what I'm saying. You guys, that is not your thing. That is not your lane. Let's just be honest. I mean, look at the games I just mentioned. Concord, right? The shit that was going to come out with Fair Games that got canceled, and Marathon. I mean, that's 0 for 3 right there, and that's happened recently.
The show has made them tons of money. Gran Turismo 7 has made them tons of money. Helldive.
Oh, get the fuck out of here, bro. I know you're not going to sit here and try to flex MLB The Show, right? I'm pretty sure that's an EA game. I know from Madden. Now, who knows? Maybe MLB is better. I don't want to be like him and talk about a game I haven't played. But if it's anything like Madden, let's just be real. Most people are just buying that shit for the sport likeness. And it's probably a reskin of the same shit. I mean, I knew the PlayStation fanboys have fallen off, but they're out here toting MLB The Show?
Helldivers 2 has made them tons of money.
Oh, Helldivers 2 made you tons of money on PC. I like how he tried to slip that one in there.
Marvel Tokone Fighting Souls stands to make them tons of money.
Yeah, probably on PC.
Marathon was not an initiative from PlayStation. That was initiated by Bungie before they were purchased, and it's being published by Bungie. That's out of their hands.
Oh, get the fuck out of here. No. So we can sit here and say Xbox is bad. Xbox doesn't know how to bring games to the market. But then when somebody brings up Concord and somebody brings up Marathon, you want to say, oh, you can't put that at the feet of PlayStation, bro? Get out of here. I mean, this is just ridiculous.
Last of Us Factions was initiated by Naughty Dog in 2019. Again, not a PlayStation initiative.
Oh, get the fuck. Then who is it on then? We're talking about The Last of Us. We're not talking about Bungie. The Last of Us Factions. Who can we put it on then? The multiplayer didn't come. They failed. They failed to bring the game. That's what you were just talking about. And I find it so funny. This is an everyday thing with him where his chat will quite literally cook his ass. And it's so funny because he gets so defensive.
They chose to not do it because they didn't want to convert their studio into a live service game. None of that you can lay at the feet of PlayStation. Concord, you can lay at their feet. I think you can lay...
Oh, great. So we can lay Concord at their feet. Well, where do I start, right? We're talking about the biggest failure in gaming history. As much as you guys like to run your mouths talking about Starfield and Redfall, it didn't do nothing like fucking Concord. Shit. Put it like this. And the funny thing is, y'all niggas be port begging for Starfield. So I just find this funny. And the biggest failure of all gaming history, right? But Sony has a far better understanding. I mean, he's got you cooked, bro. Y'all do not understand live service at all. That's a true fact.
They fair games at their feet. They don't understand how to do live service. And I think their best path forward is what they did with Helldivers and what they've done with Marvel Tokone Fighting Souls.
Oh, so just put it on PC. Even though the PC guys don't buy games. Yeah, just put them on PC. Don't worry. We got you. You know, ask Square Enix. Shit, Square Enix will tell you. Just put it on PC.
Like, you basically latch on to people that already know how to do it and have them do it. They've had the most catastrophic failure this generation. Right, but you're not demonstrating that they failed to understand creative process. Their track record is...
Did you not see Concord and the way that it flopped? And this is what I mean by just cope, right? Because I frequent these places, right? I be a fly on the wall in these pony spaces. Ooh, I'm dropping bars, right? But no cap. When they showed Concord, right? Everybody said that shit was ass. Nobody was excited for it. I remember seeing the chat light up with DEI, woke, garbage, garbage, garbage. Everybody said it was going to be dead on arrival. And guess what? Sony still overseeing all of that shit, and they still gave it the green light. They still gave it the thumbs up. So, I mean, he's quite literally debunking what you're saying right now.
Significantly better than PlayStation. PlayStation's track record is significantly better than Xbox's. Xbox has continued to bring games to market below performance thresholds that are expected at 30 FPS, full of bugs, full of glitches, clearly not ready. We've got autopsies on studios like 343 that demonstrate Microsoft's own policies are acidic to creative process. 343 had half the dadgum studio on a contract, and you can't stay on a contract employee longer than 18 months. So they constantly had this attrition of people walking out the door. They've had more creative directors leave, more directors leave than anybody else. And the games, when they ship, you can clearly see why. They are not.
I mean, you talked about 343, and then you pretty much pushed what the reports of 343 on all of Xbox's studios. And it's crazy because a game that I want to bring to mind is, well, Expedition 33. Granted, this is a game that's on Game Pass. I know that Xbox didn't make it, but it's just funny how, you know, they only have a dev team of 30 people, but they were able to get it to work on a Series S. Like, it sounds like a skill issue, right? It just sounds like a skill issue. That's why the cope about the Series S, as a player, what does that mean for me? Am I supposed to be like, oh, wow, Microsoft isn't giving hardware that's easy for devs to work on? Like, how would you even come up with that analysis? You know what I mean? But like I said, they swear that they're insiders. They swear that they have inside information. But really, they just be reading blogs on fucking Twitter.
They are not in a position. This has nothing to do with Xbox, by the way. I always stress this. This is Microsoft.
Oh.
You can trumpet around Concord all you want. That had more to do with Firewalk being drunk on their own hubris and Herman Hulst not having a clue on what a successful live service game looks like. Bungie's failed under Sony's watch. This is completely untrue. Again, you're...
Then whose watch did it happen under? Does Sony own Bungie or not? Were they not acquired by Sony? Like, dude, the COPE. Meanwhile, if this was the other way around, right? If there was an Xbox studio that put out a shitty game, he would say, what's going on with Xbox? They don't know how to bring software to the market.
Running talking points that are not in line with reality. These are just talking points from people that try to bash on Sony, and they do it in bad faith. But Bungie has not failed under Sony's watch. There's an entire blog post from Pete Parsons about what took Bungie into the red, and it wasn't PlayStation. Bungie operates independently of PlayStation. PlayStation calls no shots at what Bungie gets to do.
And, you know, it's so funny, right? Because when he gets to talking about Paris Lilly, right, which he needs to stop before Paris Lilly do his ass like he did Dreamcast guy, right? But it's so funny how he wants to take swipes at the PC Master Race guys, you know, and talk about how they're always in lockstep with whatever Xbox says. What the fuck do you call this? I mean, what is he even saying? He's saying a whole bunch of nothing. You can say all that, but the funny thing is we all end up at the same conclusion. There's no games. The game failed. Bungie's doing bad. Bungie stole artwork. That's what it equates to. That's how you would sum it up if it was Xbox. But I just love how we go through all these channels, all these COPES, you know, just such a slippery little rascal, this guy.
Per the contract, they are independently operated right now. Bungie's the one publishing Marathon, for crying out loud. PlayStation's not even publishing it. Bungie didn't force Sony to buy them. That has nothing to do with the point that you made. You've now made another point that's been falsified with facts, and now you're just
dude, now he's cooking your ass. I mean, you guys let me know what you think. He's cooking your ass. And this is a reoccurring theme. It always happens, right? I'm surprised you haven't banned him yet, to be honest with you.
Like, aimlessly. Due diligence? They've absorbed 250 people into SIE. They see the talent at Bungie, and they're keeping it. They spent an extra $1 billion so nobody would quit Bungie in the first year of the acquisition. They amortized the payment. They're not even...
Okay, and how did that do? And what are the chefs cooking up over at Club Bungie, right? What do the chefs have on the menu? Fucking Marathon. A failure. I mean, how are you going to cope for this? Instead of just saying, "Yep, I think it looks terrible. I don't know what they're doing." It's funny, and if you know the history of this guy, you know how much he does not like Bungie. That's why it's like his urge to defend PlayStation. I mean, you better pray you find a woman who loves you like how this man loves that fucking plastic box with that Sony logo on it.
They're not paying for them yet, and they've absorbed a studio, they've absorbed an incubation process, project, they've absorbed people directly into SIE. They're starting up the Live Service Center for Excellence so they can analyze live service viability of projects before they come out.
The word salad. I mean, holy shit. Like I said, MBG, are you watching? I mean, you may have to up your Adderall if this is who you're trying to imitate. I mean, goddamn. And it's funny because it's really just a whole bunch of nothing. Literally said nothing. And I love how he talks about how they absorbed companies, right? I mean, that sounds like corpo speak. I mean, we all know what happens when you absorb a company, right? You can make it seem like, oh, yeah, we just acquired them. We just brought them in. But a lot of times they cut off the fat. You know, but you don't want to talk about that. But when we were just talking about 3-4 Studios, we were talking about how it's a revolving door and how people are getting laid off. I mean, I'm pretty sure some people got laid off when those companies were absorbed, but we're not going to talk about that.
They literally made a strategic move in buying Bungie. They didn't buy Bungie for Destiny, for crying out loud. Now, maybe that was like a...
Yeah, they bought Destiny for... They bought Bungie for games, nigga. And there are none. That's the point that this guy is making. There's no games. And the game that they have coming down the pike, what's coming down that's about to be released to the mainstream, looks like bullshit.
Secondary benefit. Oh, well, maybe we'll end up with the Destiny property underneath our belt, because it seems to me they're going to take over. As far as I can tell, they're in a prime position to potentially take over Bungie.
Dude, they took over Bungie when they fucking bought them. But go ahead and cope like, oh yeah, we're just letting Bungie do whatever. Yeah, we definitely aren't overseeing what they're working on. We definitely aren't giving them a heads up before they put products out. Yeah, sure. I mean, it must... the delusion.
Again, I don't think you're demonstrating the point that you originally said, that like... Xbox is in a better position to navigate the landscape. Xbox has demonstrated a huge inconsistency in quality in bringing games to the market. They've demonstrated that they will
I mean, I don't know, man. They've been bringing games like Hi-Fi Rush. I mean, Indiana Jones, Hellblade, right? Doom: The Dark Ages. Games that all these guys have port begged for, right? And hell, I'll even put Starfield on there because I still see people on Twitter saying that that's coming to PlayStation. I mean, has that gotten announced for PlayStation yet, right? They were so confident that it's coming. And don't get me wrong, I do think it's coming. But like I said, it's just funny that they're waiting on it still. I mean, just lies. Just straight up lies.
Their own studios and their own property. Look what they did to Halo. You can't gloss over that. You can't. Have we seen PlayStation do that at all with any of their property? Like when they brought out Ragnarok and Forbidden West, when those games launched, when Spider-Man launched.
Yeah, we actually can talk about Spider-Man. Niggas were swinging around as a fucking Rubik's Cube.
Ratchet and Clank. When these games came out, did they come out even close to the embarrassing state that Halo Infinite launched in? Have they
Because it didn't have a co-op mode? Like what?
mistreated any of their flagship titles like that when they come out? No. Microsoft doesn't frickin' seem to care about any of that, and that should be a cause of concern when they own that much property. They seem totally comfortable beating the tar out of their studios with a terrible contract policy and shipping games like Halo Infinite.
Source?
That right there is why I'm like, I don't think they're in a position to navigate the landscape very well. They don't interact with devs in a good way.
Source?
They have a history of being like having animosity. They passively blamed Larian, insinuated
Passively blamed Larian, and he's always on about this. Because they simply said that there weren't any restrictions with the Series S. And listen, people can say what they want to say about the Series S, but like I said, look at Expedition 33. I didn't hear a peep from them niggas. And it was only 30 of them. So, I mean, like I said, man.
a secret exclusivity deal with Black Myth Wukong. Because games are coming to their platform late because of their hardware choices. They have demonstrated a lack of understanding what developers need. You can cite Concord all you want. You didn't even interact with my original point. Mark Cerny and the team at PlayStation has more consistently demonstrated an understanding of what developers want and what developers need. Xbox has demonstrated the exact opposite. They hamstrung this entire gen, and they had third-party games coming to their platform late, and then they had to gall to like publicly blame the devs.
And this is what I mean, like the devs. Literally, you have come to that conclusion from an interaction between Phil Spencer and Larian when he simply just said, I don't know what restrictions they're talking about. Our Series S is fine. And like I said, I mean, Expedition 33 has entered the chat. I didn't hear anything from them, right? And that's what I mean. Only people like you will support these devs coming out belly aching about how hard it is to do their job. As a consumer, I don't give a shit about that. Make the game, put the game on the platform, or don't, right? Either way, it's not that big of a deal. Like I said, the Cope, the way that he finds a way to just Xbox bad, I mean, I'm not going to lie, it's somewhat admirable.
They have made their platform completely unwelcoming and unappealing to devs. So no.
Source. Like I said, this whole entire conversation, he's not speaking from the point of a gamer. He can't speak as a part of a gamer, right? Because then you would see games and there really wouldn't be much for you to say. He's speaking like a dev, something hypothetical, right? And like I said, I will keep on saying it. Where is the source? Where are the handful of devs coming out? Where's the line of devs saying, oh, no, we don't want to work with Xbox? I'll fucking wait.
I don't think they're in a position to navigate and help things grow. I think they're completely backing out of all of their traditional pursuits. There will not be a traditional console in the future. Windows is their focus now.
So forget what Sarah Bond said, right? But if I mention what Sarah Bond said, if I mention what Microsoft straight up said, he would just turn around and say, "Oh, astroturfing. There you go." There you go, just pirating Phil Spencer's talking points. There you go, just repeating his talking points. It's funny because they're not used to PlayStation actually coming out and talking to them, telling them what they're seeing. They're not used to that. But when the Xbox guys see it and people who actually watch the video say, "Oh, well, it does sound like they're still making consoles." She quite literally said that we're going to continue to make Xbox consoles, but of course, you have to sit there and say it's not going to be a traditional console. Why? Because it's some type of PC hybrid. I know that's the new nonsense, the new cope that they're running around with, that it's some type of PC hybrid. But the funny thing is, all of these consoles are PC hybrids, right? That's what they took away from that video with AMD. And the funny thing is, if you opened up a PlayStation, there's AMD parts in there. So I guess Sony doesn't make traditional consoles. You see how stupid that would sound? I mean, just cope.
Now, they're going to let other people make the hardware for them, and they're just going to publish games everywhere. And none of that is better adapting to the landscape. It's quite literally them giving up on a fight they lost so terribly, they're basically turning in.
Lost the fight to who? Are you talking about console sales? Like, this is what I'm talking about. And I love how they're saying, and this is the same shit that MBG was trying to say, that they've moved the dance floor, right? They've moved the battleground. And that's a lie, right? Because these guys will make it seem like they're retreating when the truth of the matter is they're advancing. Well, what do you mean, Sigs? What do you mean they're advancing? Oh, that's simple. They're on PlayStation. The line has moved forward. They're on PlayStation. They're gaining ground. They're capturing. PlayStation let them in on 75 million guys. And those 75 million guys are actually buying Xbox games. Not PlayStation games. So I love the whole cope of, oh, they're retreating. They're retreating. How? When they're getting PlayStation games? It seems like you guys have been captured.
Into an arm of Windows is what it is. That's a sensible adjustment. It is a sensible adjustment because it's basically a tactical army general strategy. We lost. Let's retreat. Let's fight.
Oh, and I love the retreat. How are they retreating? How are they retreating when they're bringing forward a console? So all the people that enjoy consoles don't want to go to PC. They can get a console and they're going to be able to play PlayStation games. Like I said, it sounds like they're advancing. And like I said, here we go in these hypotheticals. We're talking about war strategies, anything but video games. But even in this hypothetical war strategy, it doesn't sound like you know anything about war. I don't know how that's retreating when you're quite literally bringing more hardware and you have more games. Not only do you have more games coming out that's going to have the Xbox logo on it from your Xbox studios, but you also have the PlayStation guys shit. So, you know, this is this is a weird retreat.
On a different front. The console sector isn't growing. False. There's more MAUs on.
Put it like this. Have you ever seen somebody retreat to the enemy's base? I mean, I see a lot of people talking about Trojan horse. I mean, I'm just saying, I've never seen somebody retreat and end up infiltrating the enemy. That's a weird retreat.
PlayStation than ever before, and they haven't even cracked into the Chinese market yet. That's not true. And the Switch 2 has surpassed Switch 1 sales. So no, that also claimed that it's only been.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, the Switch 2 is selling, but the software isn't. Because people already have the software on their preferred platform. I mean, just cope.
Made by Team Green and Phil Spencer has been falsified just in the last months. That is not true. The console sector is growing. Record MAUs for PlayStation, record new user acquisition, and Switch 2 surpassed Switch 1's launch.
Okay, record console sales. Yet we have Shuhei Yoshida, right? You love him, right? And he's begging you niggas to buy remasters so new games can come out. Like I said, you have all these console sales, but it's not reflecting on the game sales. To the point where they got you niggas, they're saying you guys only get one exclusive a year. Got you niggas like Oliver Twist and shit. Please, sir, can I have some more? I mean, goddamn.
But the console sector's not growing. No, Xbox couldn't grow in the console sector. Phil Spencer throws out that dog whistle to make it seem like, well, we're justified in abandoning this fight because it's stagnant. And yet somehow the other two companies are doing just fine.
You already know what I'm going to say. Square Enix is into the chat. Are they really doing just fine?
This was a completely justifiable one guy because you've been respectful. This has been a completely justifiable one guy. I got to thank some people.
I'm surprised he didn't get banned. But shit, it's been your boy Sigs and Serial. Until next time, peace.